Dispatchers help callers on the worst days of their lives. For over 25 years, we've been there. A silent partner in millions of calls thanks to our redundant and diverse networks that ensure call delivery. Today, cities are bigger, traffic more congested, and the challenge is more complex. But you're never alone, because InDigital is quietly improving, implementing, and driving the next generation of 911, so you're supported in every situation. Make the switch at indigital.net.
Have you ever met a 911 professional and asked, what's the worst call you've ever taken? Well, here's your answer. I heard your last breath the night you flipped your four-wheeler. I tried to call you the day you committed suicide by driving your car into a tree. Blue face, cold to the touch. I helped you with CPR after you found your infant face down, not breathing. It messed me up. I did everything I could, but it wasn't enough. You were with me from the beginning, Grandma. 27 years later, I took the 911 call when you died. How fitting to be there for me in the beginning, and I was there for you in the end. I miss you, Grandma. I am 911. This is but a glimpse into the world of emergency dispatch. But what is it really like to answer a call during someone's nightmare? What is the impact of the first responder answering the call? Available on Amazon or where you purchase your favorite books and ebooks. Imagine listening. Your worst day is our everyday.
This is Jordan, and you're listening to the Code 7 Podcast Network.
Warning. This episode contains the 3 A's of podcasting: adult content, adult language, and awesomeness. You've been warned.
One of my friends, her son died by suicide, and I was the trainer for the new trainee who took it. And when those calls come in, let's work through it. Seeing the name on the screen, it still bothers me because I knew her son was dead before she was notified. Mm-hmm. And then, but I can talk about it, and I can celebrate the fact that we can't control what other people do, but we gave the resources. I was there. But does it still haunt me? Yep. Still one of those things. Talked to one of my, again, being a trainer, one of my retirees. Called us. Ours was the last call. Go with this place, you're going to find someone dead. Oh. And those are the ones where I talk about this openly. And does it still cause me distress? Yep. However, I want to hopefully give hope. That's not good phrasing. But give hope that work through it. You cannot be perfect. You're going to have those calls that suck butt. And they're going to be coming at you, like you said, they'll come in threes or whatever. And you're like, oh, is this really the job for me or not? And call upon your resources. Call upon those trusted friends.
Welcome to Within the Trenches, true stories from the 911 dispatchers who live them.
Hey, what's going on? This is Ricardo with the Code 7 Podcast Network, and this is Within the Trenches, true stories from the 911 dispatchers who live them. This episode is sponsored by InDigital, Leader Next Gen Core Services, and we are recording live from APCO 2025. We are within the vendor hall. There are tons of people here right now walking around. You can probably kind of hear them in the background. I'm currently sitting at booth 2317, which is the Rapid SOS booth. If you were at National NENA, you saw that we did that we announced a partnership with the podcast as well as Rapid SOS. We've got a bunch of different things going on right now, but this is going to be the first episode that we are recording here at the conference. Also, big shout out to subscribers as always. Thank you all very, very much. Now let's get started.
Let's go.
I am here with my guest today. My guest today is Heidi, and she is with Anoka County Emergency Communication Center, 911 out of Minnesota. How are you doing?
I am doing fabulous. Thanks for having me on.
Of course. Yes. No, I'm excited to have you on. This is going to be fun. And so just to start off right off the bat, because people can hear the background, what's going on, how much of this vendor hall have you seen? Because it is enormous here.
Isn't it amazing? I am just overwhelmed by the sheer size of how many are in here. I've probably seen a third at the most. Kind of doing strategic. When you come to these, you either have to do it strategically or you're going to end up missing half the ones that you wanted to see.
Yes.
Wonderful opportunities to see what's new in the industry, to see new technology, new training, and to network with people that you never would imagine having contact with. I love it.
Right. That's one of the things that I tell people all the time, that if you don't get a chance to go to a conference, hit up one of the scholarships that people put out there or whatever, because the networking alone is huge. I mean, of course, the classes and all of that, great experience, right? But sometimes you might be looking for something and you overhear it from someone else, or you're having a conversation or whatever it might be, and you realize, hey, I'm actually not alone. There are other people who are dealing with this as well.
Precisely. It's that one little nugget that you walk away with that will impact you for the rest of your life or your career, or someone else. One of the things that I do want to offer to people that they might not realize is the volunteer opportunity within APCO. You can volunteer your time. Right now, I'm technically on vacation, but I volunteered my time, which pays for my pass here.
Nice.
Yes, I still have to pay for transport and lodging,
right?
But it takes some of that money concern out of the way. Plus, you get to sit in on different classes you might not be able to look at. Also, connecting with people that normally you wouldn't. I mean, I've connected with people with Department of Homeland Safety, people from Guam, people, all these different walks of life, just by volunteering.
See, and that right there alone is amazing. So there's so many things that happen at these, and I love it. I've been going to them for a long time.
Yes.
And it's always an experience, again, meeting new people, the classes, just the overall experience. But I want to know more about you. So how many years have you been in public safety?
Well, probably longer than you've been alive. I like to say I'm knocking on the door of 40 years, so I'm coming up on 39 in the industry and 37 at my current center. And just a side note, I am one of the lucky ones that started at a young enough age that I could have taken early retirement 3 years ago, and I chose not to, because I'm excited about what's happening in our industry, and more importantly, what's happening within our center, within my metro area, how we're changing things.
Yeah.
And having been in the business this long, those of you who started back when I did, or even afterwards, you know that it wasn't always a good culture.
Oh, for sure.
And I'm really passionate about changing that.
See, and I love that, because, a lot of people don't know, especially because around 2016 on, culture really started changing, where before that, and even starting in 2001 when I started in Central Florida, don't get me wrong, I loved it, loved working there, and the chief, lieutenant, everybody, but there were no resources for dispatch.
Oh, no.
I mean, there was hardly resources for, at least in that department, for officers either. So It's like you're learning all this stuff on the fly. But I don't ever remember them saying to me more than just, "Hey, you're going to be taking some crazy calls potentially," and that was it. It wasn't like, you have to go and figure this out, or there are these resources that you can check out, something to help you, feel better, or anything. Like, even the words mental health and wellness,
no,
not talked about. Like, that wasn't a thing.
You're correct. I pause because it brings back memories. When I interviewed, I started out with Beaufort County, South Carolina. Loved that department. It gave me my start. I walked in fresh off the street and had no clue what this job entailed. I just needed a job. Interviewed me at 8 o'clock. By noon, I was taking calls. My trainer was a bad boy officer, or deputy, excuse me, who had gotten injured. And I love Yogi. Loved Yogi. He's passed, but he taught me the ropes However, some bad habits. Back in the day when he had the old style phones, he'd want to go out for a cigarette break and he'd put all the incoming lines on hold. And I am sitting there, naive Midwestern teenager, going, "You just put those all on hold." He goes, "Yeah, I need to go grab a cigarette." And bless his heart, it's just that that's the way things were done.
What?
And I look back on that now, and I love to share how far we've come. But as you say, there were no resources. It was trial by fire. Some people you learned good habits from, and others you didn't.
Right. Yeah. No, that's exactly how it was. And so that was actually going to be one of my next questions as well. Is how did you even get started? So obviously, you just mentioned you jumped right in, didn't know anything about it, straight up green. But how did you even get that started? Like, what was in your mind that, or what did you see that you were like, you know what, dispatch looks all right?
I saw a job. I needed a job. I had moved down to South Carolina where my brother was stationed. I had fallen into a job in the radio industry, a small station in Wisconsin during high school, first year of college. Management changed. If you've ever been in the broadcast field, you know that you can see the writing on the wall. So I relocated, found a temp job on the military base. That ended, and I'm like, I got to get a job. I got to pay for housing. Saw the ad, applied, went in. For some reason, they hired me, and I've been in love with the industry ever since. I have not even once considered doing something outside the industry.
Wow.
I know.
That is amazing.
It's kind of scary. Sometimes I think, boy, those years just fly by. And
They do.
And that's the nugget I want to pass on, or I try to pass on. These years fly by. Make the best of them.
Right.
Do this, even in those downtimes, you make a difference. Take a step back. Remember that there are countless lives out there that you've impacted that you have no clue. And that's what's going to keep you going, because you have a special gift that not many people do. For it. However you are in this industry, you have caused an impact in somebody's life.
Yes, I agree. I fully agree. And so when you get in there, though, did you get to do a sit-along or anything like that? No, you okay. Oh. So when you
yeah, so these are things not to do when you're hiring. This is the what not to do.
When you got in, let's just think about the first day. You're walking in. Mm-hmm. Do you remember that feeling? Was it overwhelming? But also at the same time, what do you remember seeing? Like, are you walking in and there's a bunch of consoles, different keyboards, a bunch of mice, a bunch of people? Like, what were some of the things that you were seeing and feeling at that time?
Well, we were based at that time in the front part of the old jail. And if you're from Beaufort County, you know what the old jail looked like. It was probably a health code violation. This was back before CAD. I was fortunate enough to be on the committee when we instituted and were exploring CAD at that agency. But when I started, it was still paper, pen. We didn't have headsets. The desks were not movable. They were basically old wooden desks. They threw you in an office.
I was going to say ergonomics. I don't think nobody even thought about it.
Literally, the windows opened to the outside, and as I was telling you, the people would come up to you face to face. So middle of the night, I would have often drunk people trying to bail people out. So I came in and went, okay, I have no clue how to take a call. I am learning on the fly. That was back before we had addresses. So a lot of the places out in the country, you go out past that tree where the Cadillac's in the front yard, take a left, and there's the house. So a lot of that was based on memory.
Yeah.
It was intimidating. You didn't have a training program. Didn't have feedback. Hey, am I doing good? Am I not doing good? And if you didn't like it, there's the door.
Wow.
Breaks, you don't get breaks. However, that's the way not to do it.
Right.
It was extremely intimidating, a very male-dominated industry because I served at the pleasure of the sheriff. Being a younger female, teenage female, single, I was often called into the office, interrogated. I know you're fraternizing with this employee or this employee without proof. and made to feel shamed and made to feel less because I was just a secretary. So now for the scene, and just seeing us get some recognition that we need it. I mean, we are not just secretaries, but to see where we've come from, we need to recognize. And unfortunately, there are probably still agencies, centers that operate with a militaristic viewpoint, that you're just a secretary, no training, no resources, etc. So that's what we have to change, continue to change.
Right. Oh, man. So, hold on. Let me ask this question first. How long did it take for you to get through training? Like, what was your training like?
Well, let's see.
The look that you just made right now, I was waiting for a response of what training?
Truly. Like I said, I interviewed at 8, was on the floor at noon, taking calls right away.
All that same day?
You're taking calls. Yogi, bless his heart, he oversaw, and there were others who I worked with, but we had 3 people max, but usually 2 people on. You worked fire radio, fire EMS, police radio, and call taking. And if you've ever been to Beaufort County, we do have a very large land area. We have a diverse population. Thankfully, Hilton Fire Department had their own fire rescue, but we handled all the police side. So tourist season was huge. I mean, you just dealt with it. You didn't have the resources, and I cringe when I think of my call taking back then and go, oh my gracious, don't go back and QA those tapes, please.
Right.
But yeah, there was no training. There was just learn it, do it.
How many people were like on the floor at the time?
At the time, usually 2, maybe 3.
Yeah.
Typically just 2, and you just did it. If you had to take a break, your partner handled everything, Like I had told you, the bathroom was literally right next to the desk. And they would bring people through the jail and process them. If they didn't have a female jailer on, one of us dispatchers were called upon it to to do a search.
Yeah.
Again, naive, teenage Midwestern girl. I remember my first search, went in the closed room, looked at the gal and said, "Oh, you're not hiding any weapons or anything like that kind of stuff, are you?" And she goes, "No." And I knocked on the door real quick and said, "Okay, we're done." And bless his heart, the jailer said, he had a very strong accent, and he basically said, "Did you check her everywhere?" And I'm like, "Oh, what?" Taken aback. They have changed,
Yeah.
However, that's what our industry has always done. You got to do something. You learn on the fly. You do it. You figure it out as you go along. But
wow. Do you?
I don't know if you want to include that one in the podcast.
No. Okay. No, for sure. No, all of it. Like it's intriguing. I mean, just to think. See, so when I was working at the first PD that I was at, it took them 2 months before I found out that I was getting hired, because their background check takes forever, right?
Wait a minute, you got a background check?
Yeah, you didn't.
No background check.
No background check. No nothing.
You got a license? You're over 18. You're good to go.
You're good to go.
And you can type.
Yeah.
Sorry.
See, yeah, and I could type. I was 19, and it was just a background check. And but the chief comes to my house, because I didn't live that far away, to see if I still wanted the job. Said yes, and he goes, "Will you start tonight?" Which I was not planning on. And yeah, I was learning right there. 25 minutes in, my trainer Harry, he's like, "The next call is yours." I was like, "What? There's nothing else to this?" And he goes, "That's the way you're going to learn."
Right.
So you had the same thing, but yours was right.
Oh.
Bam, 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 run right after the other. So do you remember some of the, whether it be the first call or some of the earlier calls that you took in your career?
I don't have the specific memories, and I think I'm blessed with being able to just forget about a lot of the calls.
Yeah.
Because that's how you survive, for me. I'll remember fragments. I remember my first armed robbery was armed robbery of a person at an ATM, which involved a sexual assault that I did not know. And so I was gathering information while coordinating, working the radio, and looking back on hindsight, how much better could I have done that if I'd had some proper training? Did things work out? Yep, they worked out. Plane crashes, handling those, it's the stuff that you manage while you're in the moment. But looking back in hindsight, it's like, I don't want someone else to make the same mistakes, or maybe not even mistakes, but feel that unsure of what do I do next.
Right.
So, there have been calls that stick with you. We had one of our guys that would always call, and so, he's acting up, and I didn't know what that meant.
Yeah.
And typically it meant he was having either a psychotic break or a seizure, and learning the colloquialisms and learning the directional, all this stuff while call taking. I loved it though. I seriously did. And the calls, I remember the close friendships and the bonding. You had that close-knit group of deputies and dispatchers.
Right.
I still remember my first day on the radio. Two of the patrol deputies, Jim Ottinger and Mikey Taylor. I still remember them and still contact. They came to the window and introduced themselves. And I still have that vivid in my memory that these guys took time to introduce themselves and put a face to the voice. And that is so impactful to me.
That's awesome.
Because that's why I do these conferences. Hey, I've talked to you over the phone in other agencies, it's that face-to-face contact. And for them to take that moment and to treat me as a person, I remember that almost 40 years later.
Those are definitely those important moments, because when you're first getting into the profession, you don't know what you don't know, right? And like for myself, when I ended up leaving the PD and moving back home to Southwest Michigan, I finished off my dispatching career in the county that I grew up in. So I'm there, like the west side of the county, I knew like the back of my hand. East side, not exactly. Had to do some geo rides to get familiar with all of that. But like you get to a point, especially in your training sometimes, when you just want to do a good job. Yeah. And I remember when I switched to radios, because this is a whole new dynamic. Now I'm going from a one-seater PD working 8 hours, just me, to now working with a team, 3 minimum, 4 on the weekend. And I'm trying to figure out that dynamic, right? And I'm going in and I like saying hello to people, and they're just like, hey, and I'm like, oh. And,
FNG,
Right, yeah, exactly.
Don't talk unless you talk to.
Right, and then I go to radios, and I remember it was to the point that I wanted to do such a good job that even if the response was 10-4 on the radio as a response, I looked at my trainer really quick, and I was like, it's just 10-4, right? And she'd go, yeah. What else would it be? I'm like, well, I don't want to piss them off. Like, I'm trying to, I just want to say the right thing. And she's like, after I said 10-4, she's like, look, you're going to piss them off anyway, okay? It doesn't matter if you're, you might just be talking to someone who's having a bad day or whatever, and you might just piss them off, and nothing's your fault. Just do what you're going to do. Just say what you're going to say. And if you get it wrong, someone is going to tell you. I'm like, that's what I don't want to happen. I don't want to get it wrong, but it's all part of the learning experience. Right. And I was like, okay, no, I appreciate you saying that. And then it was fine. But sometimes you get to that point, because in this profession, there's also that sense of like perfectionism that you have to be perfect, especially because, with lives, but also we have to remember that we are human.
Thank you for saying that. Thank you for acknowledging that. That is could be put on repeat, I think, because so often we're our own worst critics.
Right.
Who likes to listen to playbacks?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no. Oh, cringe. Don't want to hear that. Oh, I replay that in my mind. How could I have done that better? And it's like, you did it good. When I give feedback to my staff, it's like, how could you have done it better? How could I have done this? Great. Next time, do it that way. Did anybody die because of it? Really? Let's look at you think this was a huge mistake? Yeah, could you have done better? Sure. But in this grand scheme of things, you answered the call, you got them the help, you got them the resources. Bam, that's a win. Can you polish that up? Sure. So I think that has helped me as I've gotten more accepting of myself, and I've trickled that down to my team. And I like
That's
what
awesome.
you say about working with a team. It does change. The dynamics change so drastically.
Right.
When you go from maybe a small group to all of a sudden you've got a huge group. What's funny is that going from where I started, and we just moved into a new facility, beautiful emergency communications center that was a long time coming. We've been in there since March. I love it to death, but we're so separate. We're so far apart. I mean, it's great. We have plenty of room.
Yeah.
But it's harder to hear each other. It used to be, if I said 10-4 like this, my partner's going to hear it. If I go, okay, does he need this? My partner next to me is going to hear it, or my soup right across the room because of the proximity. Now, as a supervisor, I'm like hawk ears, and I'm using, thank goodness we are progressive with AI, because I'm able to jump in when needed and jump out when they don't need me. And my little birdies are fine. They don't need me.
Yeah.
But giving them the giving them the feedback. And I love it, but I love what you said about changing dynamics, going from one-seater to a team. Oh, man.
Yeah, there's so many different personalities, and you're trying to figure out how one person works versus another person, and you might be on there thinking, how do these people work together to begin with in general? But, people are, making it work and stuff, and I loved it as well. And do you feel like there was a moment when you were working in the beginning that just really solidified the fact that you were in this place you were supposed to be? Like whether it be a call, incident, anything like that, like have you ever thought about it?
There have been a lot of ones. I think the proudest moment in my career was my parents had showed up when I was in South Carolina, or one of the proudest moments. They had showed up, came in early. I was working overnights, ready to get off shift. And they came and just stood in the back of this tiny little office to observe. And we had an incident, so I was working the radio, working phones. I was in my groove. We've all been there where you're like, yeah, it's flowing good. I'm turning, it might look like organized chaos.
Yeah.
And afterwards, incident resolved. My parents just sat there and watched it. And afterwards, they were just in awe. And I'm like, oh, well, I do that every day. And they were speechless. And I kind of felt like, holy shit, I do something really important.
Hell yeah.
To us, it's like, well, we just do this every day. You take an outsider that comes in and observes us and watches us even for that half hour, and they're like, holy shit balls, I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you keep things straight. And how did you not go crazy after that? It's like, yeah.
For real, yeah. No, I agree with that as well, because, talking with my family sometimes, like, we would have stories and, or we'd be talking about something and I would share a couple stories, something that triggered it, right? And I would just sit there for a moment and they'd go, you all right? I'm like, yeah, I just haven't thought about that call in years. Like it was completely buried.
I'm the same way where I'll forget about something and then you connect with people you haven't seen in years and they'll tell, oh, remember this call or that? They're like, oh man, now I do. And sometimes it's funny.
Yeah. Oh, of course. Yeah.
And sometimes it's really bittersweet. And I think seeing the advancements, you talked about the mental health, seeing the advances we have made to take care of our people, the calls are never going to get easier. If anything, they are increasing in their complexity, they're increasing in their urgency. And we just, I think, are learning how to deal with that better with our staff. I mean, in our news center, we have a wellness room and a mother's room. I'm sorry for all of you women who have had to pump in a bathroom on a toilet stall. Oh my gosh, how did we go through that? Now we have like this quiet room. We have a wellness room where we actually got a massage chair for
look at
TC
you.
Week. I
look
know.
at you.
You guys be envious. Come to Anoka County. We got a massage chair. And now we have half-hour breaks. And I look back to how important that is to keep our people healthy, well. I tell all of the newbies, I want you to retire happy, healthy, and relatively sane. I want you to collect your pension. I want that for you.
I want you to thrive, not just survive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
exactly. Now, a couple other questions here. I'm just enjoying this conversation. How about a call that, and as long as you feel comfortable, one that has just kind of stuck with you a little bit. Like, so for example, for myself, and I don't see them around a lot anymore, but like the last couple of weeks of my dispatch career, I was taking every shit call that you could imagine. And I've said this before, and I'll say it again. If dispatch was a gang, I was getting beat out.
Yeah.
Like that's the way it felt. Like you're going out on your back. Like you're not going to have. I mean, there were some good calls too, but there were some really hard ones. And one of them, again, like I said, I don't see these around a lot, but this specific call had to do with someone who had ran their car into a tree, and it was someone that I was looking for. So it was a disorderly call. And the caller ends up telling me at the very end of that call, by the way, I think he's suicidal as well. I'm like, why didn't you tell me that in the beginning? And I didn't say that, but, in the back of my head, I was like, why didn't you tell me that in the beginning? Because it completely changes the whole priority of the call now.
It does.
And I had the person's name, I had their vehicle description, I had their phone number. And I call the person to try to find them, wherever they might be. Phone is ringing. No one ever answers, but another call comes in. I'm like, I'm the only one who can take that. So I hang up, answer the phone, and someone tells me, I just saw a car run itself into a tree.
Wow.
And I was like, where are you? So they gave me the location, and I look over at the map, and it wasn't far from that house. And it turned out to be the person that I was looking for, that I was trying to get to. So the thing that would trigger me is the description of the vehicle, which was a blue Toyota Tercel. And when the person went to go check, and they told me there's no way that this person could have lived through this. And I said, what kind of car is it? When they said it, I remember in my head, I can see myself lipping blue Toyota Tercel. And I was like, I'm pretty sure that's the person I was looking for. And I yell it over the room. And officers switch, lights and sirens heading to that location, and sure enough, it was that person. So, like that, for a while there, every time I saw that type of car, I was like, damn it. I mean, and it was enough that I was questioning, like, if I would have switched my line of questioning, would I have been able to get a hold of that person? But there was no way. They had already done what they had done as I was trying to call the person. So, but it took me a little bit, like I was beating myself up, trying to figure that out if I could have done more. And finally, it's like, no, there was nothing else I could have done. So,
and I hear you say that, and as you're saying, talking about it, and it's triggering, not in a bad way, but it's making me recall, some of the calls I've had, and it's having gone into kind of a deep pit for a little bit. I had when you say that sometimes the calls beat you up, I had for a little bit there, everybody who was going to kill themselves call 911 before they killed themselves was going to talk to me.
Oh, jeez.
And coupled that professional stress, personal stress, that stress, you start thinking, I want to be able to make an impact in a positive way. Maybe I'm not. And when you think about, gosh, what could I have done better? Give yourself the grace that you did just enough trying to get that information. As you found out, people are not going to tell you jack shit. You have to pull it out of them, and sometimes they even lie to you then.
Yeah, usually it's weird.
So I think still you talking about it and having that on your mind is so good, because it tells other people out there, you know what? How many years later, I'm still recalling it. However, I'm not letting it dictate my life.
Right.
I talked to one of our this one is going to make me tear up a bit, so, shitballs.
It's okay. Take your time.
One of my friends, her son died by suicide, And I was the trainer for the new trainee who took it. And when those calls come in, let's work through it. Seeing the name on the screen, it still bothers me because I knew her son was dead before she was notified. And then, but I can talk about it, and I can celebrate the fact that we can't control what other people do, but we gave resources. I was there. But does it still haunt me? Yep. Still one of those things. Talked to one of my, again, being a trainer, one of my retirees called us. Ours was the last call. Go with this place, you're going to find someone dead. Oh. And those are the ones where I talk about this openly. And does it still cause me distress? Yep. However, I want to hopefully give hope. That's not good phrasing. But give hope that work through it. You cannot be perfect. You're going to have those calls that suck butt. And they're going to be coming at you, like you said, they'll come in threes or whatever. And you're like, oh, is this really the job for me or not? And call upon your resources. Call upon those trusted friends. Today in class, there was a snippet, or in the morning session, there was a snippet about find your bright light outside the business and use them to restore your light when you need it.
I love that.
And I am so fortunate and so blessed that I have people outside the industry that are my lifeline. Because too often I see people in our industry try to shoulder the heavy load and oftentimes either going into destructive behavior or ultimate self-harm, suicide. And that breaks my heart because those are the calls that stick with you. Yeah. And I'm glad that you still talk about that because it shows the humanity that you never lost that even after you transitioned out of the business. And you're really not out of the business. I think it's just it's an offshoot.
Right.
Because that's in the good old days, either call, take, or dispatch, that's all you do. That's all you can do in this world. And now people are learning, I can go work private industry. I can do podcasts. I can do these things to make a difference and still have a touch point with the business that I love so much. And so I like to see that. I like to see that people are expanding upon that because one call or calls do not define your career. Don't let it.
Right, exactly, yes. It is definitely different. And one of the other questions that I wanted to ask you, because of the amount of time that you've been in this profession, is the technology.
I love it.
From the time that you started to now, how much has the technology changed?
You laugh at me because when I started, we wrote everything on cards.
Yes.
We had to write in steno notebooks.
Did you have any punch cards?
No.
Okay.
We had to just stack them up and you kept track of it.
Yeah.
You had to write on the card in black ink. Remember, I worked for a military type organization, the sheriff's office, and all of your notes had to be in a steno pad, which then you would turn over when the steno pad was full to the commander or the supervisor. So looking at that, I love the technology we have. Some of it, I almost want to take things down for a day and say, okay, folks, we're working on cards, you're working on maps. Use it. But the resources that we have available are an integral part of us being able to successfully and efficiently respond to the calls, both from phone calls we get in, the text calls, all of that. It's intimidating sometimes, but it's also thrilling to see the potential. I love the fact, I tell people, verify, mapping resources. We have our Viper SCC map. Your call comes in. We have prepared. You got mapping there. We have Rapid SOS, Rapid Deploy. There are all those resources that you should be checking. So incorrect addressing should be a very rare occurrence.
Yeah.
So when it does happen, I use it as a coaching. Hey, remember, this is there to save you, because we'll do what we can to protect you. You follow policies, procedures. However, the world's a litigious world out there. So cover your butt as often as you can. And to see all of the options we have available, AI, I'm not afraid of AI. I love it. Oh my gosh, being able to watch the transcript play out. I have a room of 10 to 12 people that I'm kind of watching the calls come in because I'm supposed to. It's my job. Supervisor, be aware. I can, with the AI, I can have an awareness of basically all the calls that are coming in. And they give me my, trigger words. Oh, we want to look at this one first. It helps me do my job easier as a supervisor, and then when I work as a call taker. I'm like, so because at the basis of our business is taking calls, radio, all that's great. But having the ability to maintain accuracy and accurate information. I mean, jump on board, folks, verify, but don't be afraid of AI. Don't be afraid of this technology. If you don't know, ask.
Right.
I love my techie people that come in, and I will utilize my resources. Hey, explain to me how this works. I can help you on other stuff. I can talk down the person who's swearing at you or cussing at you. People skills, give me that. I can do that. I'll teach you that. You teach me this. So technology. I am agog. I hate that. That's the only word I love, agog, because it's like, oh my gosh, I am just amazed at how far we've come, and I'm sure you are too.
Yeah.
I mean, your partnership with the different companies, you go, this never would have existed years ago.
Well, people told me in the beginning when I started this that it was a crazy thing. People were never going to want to listen to it. Some people even told me, your voice, no one's going to want to listen to your voice and like all this other stuff. And it's like, you know what? I'm going to show you. I'm going to show all of you. I'm doing something that is really important. And it all stems from, my own struggles, in the beginning and stuff. And if I can help anyone not struggle or not feel alone and help them to be able to get their stories out, I want to leave this profession in a better place than I found it, but also make some sort of change, even if small, in this whole profession.
And you're leaving a legacy. And I think that's all we want. All of us want to leave the world a little bit better place. And you talk about giving a voice. I remember one of your early sessions that I was fortunate to attend, and hearing people talk about their tough calls.
Yes, the Imagine Listening session.
The Imagine Listening, giving voice to those things, those dirty little calls that normally we don't talk about until we're about 3 sheets to the wind, very honestly. We used to have choir practice. Choir practice, that's how we dealt with these things. Was that healthy? No. Was it at least getting it out there, talking it through? Yeah. So you are giving a healthier way to deal with it, and the support that has been built for people that I've seen just on the internet. You're watching people comment and go, oh, great, there's someone else that I'm questioning, did I do this right, or how can I deal with that? The collaborative nature that is coming about is immense. I think that I'm excited to see where it's going to go in the next, I don't know if I'll be here for the next 20 years, but as it evolves.
Yeah.
And giving voice to what you see, your purpose, and giving courage, or having the courage to actually put that in motion. I applaud you, because
thank you.
And I think it's great what you've done for us. I'm one of your biggest supporters, because I think it's something that was needed.
I appreciate that more than you know. Thank you so much. It has been a wonderful experience, but as you asked before we started, I never imagined this would be where it is globally, the movement, just like all of it. It's been something else. I've got one last question for you.
Uh-oh.
as we go into the wrap up of this episode.
Yes, thank you. Sorry.
So
Sorry
no.
I just
No,
jibber-jabber about
this has been awesome. So here's the last question, final question of this episode. With you said 39 years?
They're coming up 39 years.
39 years. Okay. With that experience, if you could go back in time to talk to yourself in the beginning of your dispatch career, and this isn't to change anything, right? Because there's a lot of things that we experience and that we go through, whether it be hard lessons or whatever, that lead us to who we are today. But if you could go back in time and talk to yourself in the beginning, what would you tell yourself?
Wow. I think have courage and believe in yourself, that you are important, you are doing good, even in the moments that you think you have totally effed up your life or effed up, whether it be a call. Have the courage to look at yourself with grace and love and compassion, and then just keep moving forward. And I'm so glad that I did. I'm so glad that I stayed in this industry. I know that when the day comes that I leave, they'll replace me, as they should. 5 years from now, ain't nobody gonna probably remember me. However, I'll remember that I made a difference, or I tried to. So that's why we're here.
Amazing. Thank you, Heidi, for being on, for sharing your story, and just everything that you do in the profession. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. This has been awesome. It has been excellent to have you on. And if you hang tight for just one moment, for those who are listening right now, if you have any comments, questions, you ever want to be a guest on the show, you can email me, or you can simply actually just go to links, and that's links with 2i's.co/IM911, and you'll find everything there. You'll find my email, all of my social media, where to listen to the latest episode of Within the Trenches podcast or the Imagine Listening podcast. And if you ever want to be a guest, whether you are new to dispatch, seasoned or retired, I would love to share your story. I've been doing this for over a decade now. You can find a link on there, and also a link to the free community that has over 200 hours of continuing education. So make sure to go on there and do that as well. And then this episode has been sponsored by InDigital, a leader in next-gen core services. Big shout out to subscribers as always. And you can hear this 24/7 on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, your favorite podcasting app, and withinthetrenches.net. Have a good one, everyone, and we will see you all in the next one.
Imagine listening to someone's worst day every single day. Imagine listening as someone experiences life, through their worst nightmare to the miracle of birth or a life saved. I'm Ricardo Martinez, a former 911 dispatcher, and for years, I've been recording the voices of a hidden world, ours. I've provided a space for 911 dispatchers to share their powerful stories. It started as a peer support session and continues. Dispatchers sitting together, sharing out loud, or writing down what they couldn't say. Some stories will grip you. Stories of heartbreak, resilience, and calls that haunt us long after the line goes quiet. But Imagine Listening is more than heavy emotion. It's about healing. It's about laughing through the chaos, lifting each other up, and reminding the world that dispatchers are human too. The lighthearted will balance the heavy. Experience the power of storytelling, a podcast for the thin gold line and those who want to understand it. This is Imagine Listening. Your worst day is our everyday. Subscribe now wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts.